Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, publisher of the beloved Aspire magazine, mindset elevation coach, and a woman truly passionate about bringing you conversations and women who will inspire, empower, and support you in living your most aligned, intentional, and magical life. You know, one of the things I'm all about and is about our energy, our personal energy, our frequency, what we're emitting to the world. Because as my guest today is going to share, your power rests in your personal frequency. And when you clear your energy daily, and sometimes multiple times a day, the way the world is, you strengthen and clarify your signal. And the less resistance in your field, the more you induce flow. And flow is where your vibrational sweet spot is. And I love that phrase from my special guest today, who is expansion catalyst Lee Murphy-Wolfe. And I'm so excited because she's also going to do some tuning fork magic with us today. So before I bring her on, let me introduce her. Expansion catalyst and evolutionary guide Lee Murphy-Wolfe is a mentor for soul-led women who are being called to a higher, more aligned purpose. She helps them to release energetic patterns that are keeping them small, reconnect to who they really are, and rediscover what they always wanted so they can step into being the visionary leaders they are meant to be in life and in business. I'm honored to say she's a frequent contributor to Aspire magazine. She's an expert instructor for inspiredlivinguniversity.com, as well as an international best-selling co-author in multiple inspirational books. She has appeared on numerous radio shows, podcasts, and summits. She's a certified master integral coach, a professionally trained mastermind facilitator, and is formally trained in solar, harmonic, and biofield tuning. And as you'll discover, she's highly intuitive and excels at empowering others to see new possibilities, maximize their gifts, and make aligned choices with confidence. Lee, I am so grateful that you're here with me today. We go back a long way, don't we?
We sure do, Linda. I'm really excited to be here with you as well.
Well, you know, that phrase, you wrote an article for Aspire too about that vibrational sweet spot. And you and I have held beautiful personal conversations. And when that topic and that phrase came through, I was like, oh, yes, I need to have Lee on the show because isn't that where we all want to live from, that vibrational sweet spot?
Yeah, we really do. And it's easier than we realize to get there and to keep returning to that. And that's what I'm really excited about being able to share a little bit more about today.
And one of the things I think, let's talk about personal frequency. So if someone is listening in, one of the beautiful souls that are joining us, what is our personal frequency?
Yeah, so in the simplest terms, it's your vibrational signature. And every one of us has our own unique vibrational signature. Losing my voice, sorry about this. So before we came, there's a couple parts to our energetic anatomy. So I'll just give you a bigger picture of how personal frequency fits. We have what's called our original template. And my understanding of that is who we were as light beings before we came as humans. So there's that. And then we also have a unique energetic blueprint. And that is our unique design and our gifts and all of the things that make us uniquely us. So that is the organization of our higher self, which then comes to earth. And when we're here on earth, we have a physical body as well as emotional body, mental body, spiritual body. All of that comes together through the physical body, vibrates in a unique frequency. That's your personal frequency. So all of those layers, whether it's your physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual level of your signature, need to play together nicely. And a lot of times they're not necessarily matched up at the same time, or there's something hiding in one piece that you're not accessing. And so you can have some chaos in your vibration and leave a signature you're not even aware that you're leaving. So it's a really fascinating thing because it's multi-layered.
I love that. In what, like, why is that personal frequency like so important to physical, emotional, and spiritual growth? Because a lot of times before I even knew what that was, many years ago, it was like invisible. So it was kind of leading my life and I didn't know it, which means that and sometimes my frequency was sabotaging my different areas of my life. So I'd love to know why it's so important to our growth in all those areas.
It's such a great question, Linda. And what I've learned through this work and my work with other women who are on the path is that we're energy beings and we're also electric beings. And so the reason that our personal frequency and being more and more tuned into it is so important for our growth on all those levels is we we're not meant to stay small.
Mm,
And it's naturally in our energetic DNA to expand. And so if we've constriction in our energy in any of those areas, you don't have that ability to unfold at the level at which you are actually capable. It holds you a little bit. You might feel stuck or unsure or caught up in energetic patterns that aren't working. And there's usually something tangled up on one of those levels. And so that's why it's so important for our growth to attend to our field as a whole and be aware of our vibrational signature and how the parts play together. Um, because when we're aware of that, then we can just release resistance on all those levels and create that opening for the flow to move through us and for our field to naturally expand the way it's meant to.
I love that. And in the article you wrote for Aspire, you wrote, when you're on a path of expansion, you're being called to let go of an identity that you have outgrown. And that really resonates for me right now. And you share it can be overwhelming, especially when you're in the process of rediscovering yourself or redefining who you must be to fully step in. But you have tools and strategies to help women find their vibrational sweet spot. But I love the sentence when you're on the path of expansion, you let go of, I'm reading it as let go of that limited identity and step into that place of expansion instead. Am I reading that message correctly?
Yeah, so we all think we know who we are, but we forget who we really are.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, we all can. We've all been there, and at any given moment, we're back there. So yeah, this letting go of identity, a lot of what we believe to be us is grounded in this sense of self with a small s. That's more the ego, the physical world. And we're so much more than that. We are built for so much more than that. And so part of that letting go is allowing ourselves to see more of who we really are on those other levels. And that really, on a physical level, you may know this in your heart, you may know that or feel it in your soul. And on a physical and a day-to-day thought pattern level or emotional level, it could be a little scary because you don't know what that other piece looks like. because we've been disconnected from ourselves for a while when we're going into that expansion. So it gets on a nervous system level in the physical body, it gets a little chaotic, and that starts to reverberate in your larger electromagnetic field. So then it starts to have this funny effect of entangling your energy on other levels that you may not be aware of.
I love how you explain that. And for me, and when I know when I'm out of energetic alignment, is when I start feeling anxious, fearful, ungrounded. I'm like, whoa, I am not in the energy of the truth of who I am. So for me, that's my signs, that's how I receive it. And then I have the choice to recalibrate, to bring myself back to center. And we all have that power to create that equilibrium within us, don't we?
Yeah, we really do. We don't actually, sometimes it's hard to accept how powerful we really are, but we
Yeah.
are incredibly powerful beings. We are powerful creators. It's beautiful what we can actually do when we allow ourselves to fully unfold.
Isn't that empowering, ladies? That within us is the power to choose. And we're going to take a quick break, Lee. When we come back, I want to talk about the power of tuning because one, I believe in the power of frequency and energy and the power of using tuning and other energetic tools to bring us back into alignment. So I can't wait to open that conversation in our next segment. And ladies, we'll be back in a moment with Lee Murphy Wolf. You can learn more at leemurphywolf.com, and we'll be right back.
Mission-driven business owners, are you feeling energetically drained? It's time to shift that so you can lead at your highest level. Lee Murphy Wolf, creator of the Calibrate method, has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs create sustainable success. She teaches her clients how to unwind the energetic patterns that affect their flow, tap into their feminine leader energy, and build energetic resilience so they are aligned for the next level of business growth. Lee's unique programs combine the healing frequencies of tuning forks, energy management techniques, and simple business design principles to help you reduce overwhelm, restore vitality, and realign with more ease. Lee offers free energy clearings and tunings twice a week in her free Facebook community, The Balanced Business. Learn more about Lee and her services at leemurphywolf.com.
Welcome back, my friends. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy. Thanks for circling up with me and my very special guest, Expansion Catalyst and Evolutionary Guide, Lee Murphy Wolf. So, Lee, how can tuning support us while we're evolving and when we're on that path of being called to expand?
I found for me that tuning was probably the most powerful tool in my toolkit when I was going through my dark night of the soul. And here's why. Tuning forks provide simple yet powerful frequencies that our energy field recognizes on a cellular and like a nano level. I mean, it's like sound and vibration are the language of the universe. And so the frequencies of the tuning forks, you wind up in communication on a universal level without having words, without putting it through the mind and anything else. It goes straight to the heart of how your nervous system is functioning, opening up and untangling anything that's stuck without any effort other than just to allow the frequencies to do what they do, because they're speaking to each other. Your cells and your energy field and those frequencies are just, they're doing their magic and they're speaking to each other. So it's incredibly powerful, because when you're in that expansion and you're in that growth phase, it can feel like maybe you're spiritually more ahead of where your physical body is or where your emotions are, or you may be aware of a pattern that you have, a mental pattern, and it's not serving you. And it's frustrating because you're thinking, oh, I can't break this pattern. and I know it's there and I don't know what to do, and you have all the other tools. And when you tune and you use frequencies, it just starts to unwind it for you. So it's really awesome because we all, when we're going through that change and we're saying, who the heck am I now? That's enough on our plate, isn't it?
Yes. And really everything is energy, right?
Hmm.
Everything is all interconnected. So when you are working with a client using tuning, because I know how intuitive you are, it's like is it like you're tapping into their energetic frequency and can kind of feel what kind of tuning they need or they're
Mm.
being called forward?
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of the time, basically the tuning fork works like sonar. So it gives me information about what's in your field. It's reflecting back to me where it's staticky or wonky or needs more strengthening. So I become as a tuner somebody who can just I can help you with the right sounds to adjust your frequency, and it's really about listening to the sonar ping. It's really incredible. So when I'm listening to a client's field, I can hear if there's more of something needed because the fork sounds not pure and clear and strong. It sounds like sometimes it could be shaky, wonky, fuzzy. Um, Sometimes there's no sound at all. It almost sounds like a dead sound, like the vibration gets absorbed so quickly. So the idea is when we've actually filled ourselves back up with frequencies that almost auto-correct what's going on in our field, um, it's almost like it's pinging off of you. That's why it's bright and clear, as opposed to us just absorbing it because we need to build it back up.
That just is so intriguing to me.
It's
And
wild. This sounds like so. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story about that. So,
yes,
years ago, when I was first learning some of these methods, I had my husband on a table as a practice body for me. And I was listening with one of the forks to see, because I'm asking the field, what's my best approach? Where is going to be most supportive for this person so that I can provide them with the inputs that they need, because that's essentially what the frequencies are. Well, I was doing a scan of his body, and there was a point where I hit a spot in his field. I kid you not, it sounded like I had just stepped on a cat. It screeched, and I thought, oof. And I realized there was a lot of deep anxiety in that moment, and he wasn't even aware of it. And what was beautiful, I was able to just keep giving the right input with the fork. And then within a few minutes, it just sounded open and flowing and clear. Because that's what we're doing with the forks. It works as sonar and it works to induce the electrical flow in your energetic system.
it's powerful. So, like, I know sometimes, and I'm sure everyone listening can maybe relate to my words. Sometimes you just feel energetically stuck and you can't identify why. And maybe sometimes I feel it in my body. So, you're saying in a case like that, that as you're tapping into their field, the tuning forks almost guide you to where that stagnation is and then give you the information you need as the tuner to help break it up.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's right. And so, so I get to be a conduit, um, but it's really the fork, and the frequencies of the fork are the communication vehicle. So it's really phenomenal. They're so powerful, so simple and so powerful. And it's a different effect than working in, if you've ever gone to a sound bath, which I love going to those as well, with multiple types of instruments and things going on. It's almost more of a blended experience where you're just getting this overall washing of vibration and sound over your systems. Whereas with the tuning, it's precise. So the fork gives me that sonar signal and tells me this is where this chakra zone is where this person needs support most right now. And that's where I focus. So every session, every person, every moment, it's different because our personal frequencies, as you know, consistently change throughout the day, don't they? So
I love that. So it's like it's every session with a client is completely customized to their energetic frequency and maybe something, am I correct? Like if they came to you and say, I really feel stuck in calling in abundance or a healthy relationship, or maybe I'm fear or anxiety, does that information help you, or do you not have that conversation and just allow their field to guide you?
it's a little bit of both. Sorry, one second. Had some crazy weather here in Vermont, and I'm a little scratchy in the throat. So it's important, I think, and a big piece of vibrational sweet spot has to do with not suppressing or repressing your emotions. So talking about what the client is perceiving is critically important just from that perspective alone. So I also I hold that lightly because my job is to be like a hollow vase or just like a clear space to listen to what their field says because they may think that it's something, but their field tells me it's something else.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I love that it's that two-way communication, right? And you're allowing them to process the emotions. And I'm sure you can pick up energetic frequencies as they're speaking about whatever that situation or experience is. I'm sure that gives you information too.
Oh, absolutely. And mostly what's not said probably has even more power than what is said.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. And one of the things I want to cover is because I'm looking at the time, I'm like, okay, should we do this before or after? Because I don't want to rush. So what we're going to do, ladies, we're going to take another break and we're going to talk a little bit about some ways, simple ways that you can tap into your sweet spot. And then I promise you, in the last segment, Lee is going to do a beautiful tuning to give you a taste of that beautiful modality. So we'll be back in a moment, and I invite you, please visit Lee at leemurphywolf.com, learn more about her offerings, her wisdom, and her fireside chats. And you can learn more about all of that at, again, leemurphywolf.com. We'll be back in a moment, my friends.
It's time to create space for you in your life instead of squeezing it in after you take care of everyone else. If you're feeling overwhelmed, burned out, and resentful, those signs are letting you know it's time for emotional first aid. Mindfully integrating 3 decades of nursing experience, Dawn Michelle Jackson combines her empathic insights with her expertise as an advanced grief recovery method specialist and infinite possibilities trainer to help women heal their hearts, transform their lives, and rediscover joy. During her nursing career caring for children, veterans, trauma, and surgical patients, Dawn discovered the intricate connection between the mind and body. Today, with a compassionate approach, she expertly guides women to attain mind, body, and spirit wellness through her coaching, books, and retreats. Learn more at dawnmichellejackson.com.
Thanks for joining us. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, and today we're talking about your vibrational sweet spot with Expansion Catalyst and Evolutionary Guide, Lee Murphy Wolf. So we've covered really what personal frequency is, why it's important to our physical, emotional, and spiritual growth, how it can support us as we're evolving and being called to expand. I want to invite you to share some ways that women can find their vibrational sweet spot. And I know you just wrote a beautiful article for Aspire that will be coming out in February on this topic, and I just loved it so much. I wanted to invite you to expand on it.
Great. Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So let me first give some context for how I define the sweet spot, because you may have in your mind a different idea of what that is. So a lot of people think that the sweet spot is being really high vibe and everything feels fantastic and woohoo, kind of great. What I've learned through this work, and as I'm spending more time with frequencies and in people's energy fields and attending to my own field, is that vibrational sweet spot is really about you at your most authentic, true self with a capital S, your higher self. And so it's about coming into a vibrational alignment with that, because that is the truth of who you are. And so it's different for everyone. Some people just feel, you know it intuitively too. You've all been there. You may feel really calm, super mellow. You might feel this overflowing of love or this sense of peace, inner peace or joy. It really, no fear, whatever it is for you, it's like, and ultimately what it's about is in that moment, your human self and your higher self are on the same wavelength. And what that looks like is there's no resistance. And that's sometimes why we think it's this elusive idea. But we're truly in the moment of flow. There is no resistance on any level of your fields when you're in your sweet spot. So it's really juicy. In terms of getting there, there's a few things you can do so simply, because it's not this elusive thing that's hard to access. So one of the ways that is really simple to drop in is being able to drop into your heart and tap into appreciation, which, as Abraham Hicks says, it is the most powerful frequency on the planet today. And it's basically like the frequency of love, isn't it? So that's why dropping into our heart is really important. And this is different from gratitude. So gratitude focuses more on, I'm so grateful for this and this and this. And we look at it that way, things that we're, so happy that we have this now. Whereas appreciation is deeper, because you are in this energetic frequency that, it's just pure love. You're just looking at things you love about a person, a place, a thing, an experience, a moment. It can be sensory. It could be as simple as, the smell of a rose that just opened in bloom, and you just smell it and every part of you tingles and you have this overflowing connection in the moment. That's deep appreciation, the way it feels cellularly. It could be so you can use your senses. You can, meditate and call in an image or a thought. You can remember an experience. You can taste something. You can listen to a sound. But dropping into appreciation, where there's no attachment to anything other than pure love, a moment of pure love, that brings you back every time right into your sweet spot, because we are all expressions of pure love. We just forget that we are. So that's one way, super easy. Another way, which I really love, is the idea of mind movies. Now, I know many of you have heard about that. You probably have, or use visualization in some way, whether it's a vision board or creating a mind movie where you're playing something over and over in your mind. I have one that I use all the time. When I start feeling like I'm not in the place of openness, appreciation, and love, there's a moment in time where I drop myself right back into the moment I was standing at the top of the aisle, waiting to walk down the aisle to marry my husband. And he did something so spectacular, I will never forget it. He surprised me by playing a piece of music. Everyone stood up and we're clapping and singing to that piece together to open the ceremony. And I didn't know that he was going to do that. And it was just this complete outpouring of love in the entire room. And I can remember the light coming through the window, the sound of the music, my own breath and what it sounded like coming out of my nose and my chest. And like, it was really amazing. So again, that's like a little mental catalog of, oh, I have that mind movie. I can play that clip and I am in my sweet spot. So you probably have some moments that are just peak experiences for you as well that you can draw upon. So that's another one that I really, really love. Yeah, and there's so many other ones too. And like those are the two that really popped out at me as worth getting a little deeper into right now.
And I love that. And one of the other ones you talk about too, not just in the article, but in our conversations, is
Mm,
about releasing resistance, right? And
mhm.
that was a big one for me in my like 30s and 40s because I was the micromanager of the divine, right? And
It's a great
oh,
way to describe it. The
Lee, I had the
micromanager.
T-shirt and everything, my friend.
Hmm.
And I was like, I would hold on so tight to how I believed things
Yeah.
had to be. And now, when you're in this sense of, I guess, when I'm in my vibrational sweet spot, right? I feel ease, grace, flow, because I'm not fighting. So, talk a little bit about the importance of releasing resistance in regard to our energy.
Yeah, yeah. So there's what I call electric hygiene. So we all know about energetic hygiene. It's this idea of, keeping our fields clear and clean and that sort of thing. And electric hygiene takes it to another level because you can use the pure frequencies of tuning forks to take static out of your signal, all that wonkiness. So by listening to the frequencies and everything else, you can unwind stuff in a matter of minutes. Um, and so I check in with myself all day throughout the day and notice the fluctuations. And if I start feeling stuck, tired, judgy, cranky, the list goes on. But we all, as our emotions, if we're getting caught up and we think we are that emotion, it's time for a little tune up. So you need to clear out. That's a resistance. Um, and here's what I wanted to talk about the distinction. So we need to release the energetic and emotional resistance that we may or may not even know we have. Um, but what's interesting too is just like expressing your emotion can do that. Do you ever have a cathartic scream where you just go, ah, because you needed to let something out in a moment?
Of course.
No resistance. Once we move it, the wave moves through. So it can be very simple things. I used to do a flush technique. I used to have a lot of clients like scheduled back to back to back with very little time in between. And in between, the way I would clear so that I could release any resistance or any conversation or any energetic stuff from one person going into the next person, because I wanted to be present for each person. I, would move my body in a way called it's like the energetic flush. I would stand up and then I would pump my foot as if I was using a pedal or something, and I would go whoosh, and I would physically say, I'm flushing this energy whoosh, and creating space for the next piece. So, there's a physical aspect to moving your body too, which helps release the resistance. So it's really, really important to notice how your resistance shows up. Yeah, for me, it shows up in frustration or anger. And I know I'm close to something and it's like, ooh, I need to do a little release here. So everyone's got their version of it, but it's really powerful to use your body and your voice if you don't have forks or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. And I would
And
say the other way you can get back into your sweet spot is an ancillary to that, get out in nature. And we all know this, but it's just absolutely incredible because you're in an, again, natural communication between your field and the natural world. And that's also an easy way to tap into appreciation because it's almost impossible to stay stuck when you're looking at something beautiful in front of you, something that you resonate with. And I used to live in New York City. And talk about not having access to nature. I'm like surrounded by buildings and a bridge and concrete and noise. So what I used to do is I'd bring more nature into me, and that could be in the form of a water feature in your space, or plants, or crystals, or anything in the natural world that feels resonant for you, and bring more of that into your space. So there's ways to always get back to the sweet spot.
I love that. So you mentioned, before we go to the break, you mentioned immerse yourself in nature, amplify your appreciation is a big one,
Mhm.
mind movies, and releasing resistance. So thank you, my friend. And we're going to take our final break. And as promised, when we come back, Lee is going to offer us a sacred offering of a tuning. So get ready, ground in your body, wiggle around so that you're ready for when we come back after our break, my friends. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you ready to create and live the divinely guided life intended for you? A life not bound by your past or tied to a specific future. A life beyond your fears and what ifs that is filled with limitless possibilities. Experiencing an empowered life of fulfillment, joy, and connection is possible when you embrace a spiritual solutions-centered lifestyle. Through her transformational teachings and programs, Lisa Hermata, empowered Life View Guide, life transformation mentor, and founder of Love is the Seed, empowers women to break the barriers holding them back from living their sacred truth so they can find greater connection with their inner wisdom and their divine source to co-create a life that brings peace, joy, and self-acceptance. Visit loveistheseed.com for positive guidance and valuable resources to support you in embracing an empowered life view.
Are you excited? Hi, I'm Linda Joy, and with me today is my dear friend, Expansion Catalyst and Evolutionary Guide, Lee Murphy Wolf. We've been talking about vibrational sweet spots, tuning, different ways you can tap into your vibrational sweet spot, and now you're in for a sacred gift, my friends. Lee's going to be doing, I think that's the word, holding a beautiful tuning for us. And I ask you to just be here now, be in the moment, open your heart to receive this gift. And it'll be, just to give you an idea, it'll be about 3 minutes or so. And then we'll come back for conversation and finish out our last segment. So Lee, I'm going to hand it to you in case you have to explain anything or prepare us.
Okay, great. So what I would suggest for any of you listening to this is to really just have a quiet moment where you can be in your body, not be multitasking. If you're cooking or driving or something like that, you might want to listen to this 3-minute tuning when you're in a place where you can be present. Sometimes the forks can take you someplace, and not a good thing when you're driving necessarily. Yeah, so this is really about you allowing yourself to be in communication with these frequencies and just receiving what you're meant to receive. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no magic to how you do it. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to do it. So that's all I really want to say about it, because you're going to experience what you're meant to experience. So to get started, and just take a few deep breaths in through your nose and audibly out through your mouth, with one hand on your heart and one on your belly, and just noticing the miracle and the beauty of your breath. And then just allow yourself to listen and receive. Coming into a space of relaxation and safety. And know that you are so loved and that the universe is cradling you in this moment, as always. Keep breathing that in. Bringing your attention to your solar plexus, the area above your navel but below your heart. Breathing in love and strengthening your breath as you remember who you are, who you really are. And opening your heart to the possibility that you are so much more than you can even possibly imagine. And allowing that truth to dance around you and in your heart, filling you with beautiful pink and white light. And with your next few breaths, bring your attention to the crown of your head. And know that there is a light portal connecting you to the divine and your higher self, now and always. Light and angelic. And that connection is never broken. It's always here for you. And wrapping you in loving white light. And strengthening and amplifying that white light with every breath. Baking in a sacred reminder that this is who you are. This is your birthright to be a beautiful, fully expressed light being, and so it is. And connecting your will to divine will for the greatest and highest good. And taking another breath or two, just starting to come back into your physical body, wiggling fingers and toes. And when you're ready, come back to this conversation. Just notice what you notice.
That was so beautiful. The resonance I could feel and hear um, was so heart opening. It's the only way I can
Mm,
describe it. And it's funny because maybe you were about a minute in, and I didn't realize that as I was sitting here and I had my hands, as you shared, where they were placed, I could feel my body as I'm sitting in my chair, almost, it was physically moving and almost like a spiral energy.
mm,
Just, it was so beautiful. And ladies, I want you to just sit with that for a moment. Take that all in. And that message of the white light really touched me too. What a gift, Lee. What a gift to share with us, but also in the work that you do with your clients and your communities. I believe, one of the places I did feel was um, as you moved up, right
mm,
before you got to the crown, I had to actually put it on mute and clear my throat. I felt like energy
mm,
moving in my throat chakra.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, hmm. So I quickly put it, you can hear my voice now. It was like I felt like there was a clearing that happened. And as you know, I speak for a living, I teach for a living. So I'm like, ooh, there's a message there. I got to talk to my throat chakra a little bit. So especially I'm about to step into a uh, whole new platform, we'll say. So thank you for that gift because I said, oh, I'm going to do some throat chakra movement.
Mm,
And so I know you have a free gift on your site at leemurphywolf.com, and it's called Tune Into Your Next Chapter. And it's a beautiful guided meditation, ladies. And I want to invite everyone to make sure that you go grab it, check it out. It's all down in the show notes too, so you can get right down there and click away. And then I got to tell you, Lee holds a monthly free fireside chats for soul-led women virtually, and they're powerful. And you know how I believe, ladies. We need community. We need sacred community. We need to surround ourselves with those who want to embrace the light, who want to do that work. And I love something you said, Lee. It's about feeling everything, not stifling everything. We got to feel our emotions, our thoughts, and all of that. But I also see tuning is a way to help us process those emotions, thoughts, stuck energy.
yes.
That's how I see what you do we need tools sometimes to turn to help us navigate those emotions and things that come up.
Yes, very, very true. And the other thing I wanted to add is if you're anything like me, which I believe we are very similar in some ways, you're an empath. And
Yes.
being an empath, I know some of you might be out there thinking, I already feel everything. What are you saying? But here's what tuning can do in that case. What it helped me do personally, and what I'm seeing happen with my clients, it helps you better discern what energy and emotions are yours and what belong to others so that you can clear and release what no longer serves you and what does not belong to you personally and come back into your own personal frequency. And for empaths, that is so critical, especially in a world that's been so noisy and there's just a lot going on right now for a lot of people. I've found this to take it from not just managing your personal energy, but truly being able to master your personal energy. This is a really great tool if you're empathic because it just gives you that extra level of electric support to take those knots out of your field. We carry a lot. We can be like sponges if we're empaths, and that's not really serving you or anyone else.
I'm so glad that we're closing with that message because a large part of my audience over the last 19 years identify as empaths, highly sensitive women, intuitives, and it's so important for us to maintain our, as you call it, electrical hygiene if we want to, one, live healthy lives, but also to make a ripple in the world, right? A positive ripple in the world.
Absolutely.
I always love circling up with you. We've been friends for a long time. I love your work, your message. I love what the sacred containers you create for women to step into. So thank you for joining me, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be able to connect with you and to share with the amazing community of women that you've gathered.
And ladies, again, give yourself the gift. Visit leemurphywolf.com. Grab that free Tune Into Your Next Chapter guided meditation. Also, be sure to check out the Fireside Chats for Soul-Led Women. Those are free monthly circles where you can come together with Lee and other extraordinary women. And we all need that sacred community now more than ever. So until next time, my friends, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness. Blessings.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.